Join Uncle Will of That's My Word podcast every Fridays at 6 p.m. with his weekly summary, Let Me Talk. Trust me, it's not your average weekly podcast show. Hey, how you guys doing? Again, this is your boy Uncle Will, OG. So check it out. This is That's My Word, Let Me Talk. Again, it's a spinoff of the original show that myself and C to the Right that we co-host. Again, that will be relaunching top of the year 2021. Here at this show, it's just me taking the time to let you guys know what's on my mind, my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts of things. And I'm trying to get him to be on my side. As you know, it's hard sometimes, right? And then, that's it. But anyway, let him introduce yourself. See to the right. Let the people know yourself. Introduce yourself again, man. Go ahead.
Top of the day, evening, or morning to you, whatever time you're watching this show. It's going to be interesting today.
Very interesting. And let me give you a reason why. I usually call him the OG Redbone. Well, check it out. We got a BG Redbone. We have the young. Let her introduce herself. Go ahead, young lady.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm his daughter.
Wow. So, Emma.
Yeah.
Before we go into it, tell us, how old are you?
I'm 17, just turning.
Okay, so you just turned 17, and as you see, she's very mild spoken. So she gonna speak a little bit more, so she could exert in the mic, unlike her father.
I'm 17 years old, just turning.
There you go. So that's Emma. Let me tell you, my experience on dealing with this young lady. She's very smart.
I'm a riot.
She's very intelligent, and the young lady will speak her mind. I'm telling you, by dealing with you, Emma, I didn't came up with a thought that you may be getting into politics or something one day, or you're going to be in a strong position where you're going to be running some things or whatever. Tell us a little something about yourself.
I'm not scared of anything. I don't know what to say.
Well, I tell you what, let us set this thing up. So, as you know, see, you and I, we talk about a variety of different subject matters, whether it's political, the state of the community, men in general. As a father, this is your baby girl. We have talked about our daughters and their relationships and things like that or whatever. So, tell me this. With what's going on today, do you have any worries or any fears in regards to what a young lady like Emma will face in the future? Or do you want me to be more?
Yeah, specify what you're talking about.
Like I was telling Emma earlier before we came on air, that her generation, which is Gen Z. Gen Z, you guys are going to inherit a lot of issues, whether it's climate change. You guys may not even know what Social Security benefits are. It's just a lot of things that you guys are going to inherit or whatever. And so my question to you, based upon what our generation have gone through and the things that we had to work for and get to, do you have any type of fears about the stability that your daughter, or the instability that millennials and Gen X like her may face in the future?
Well, from what I observed, my own personal observation in regards to this, I grew up under, we'll say, a structured society to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I see her generation and generation before her is losing structure. In other words, rules are fluctuating more. More tone of, let me do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's my life. It's my body. It's my mind. Let me do whatever I want to do. And the problem with that is, more you have total civil liberties, more of a lawless society you will have.
Mm.
And you're going to have people getting more and more disconnected to own self-personal issues, or interests, should I say, and care less, a lot less, about what they're doing to other individuals as a result.
So you care to respond upon that? I mean, what do you feel?
I completely agree with him. I notice it for myself, especially like on school, social media, because that is a big thing for a young person like me. I agree that desensitization, I can't even say it right.
Just relax, you're doing fine.
Desensitization, I think that is a really big problem. Like, I feel like a lot of people my age aren't emotionally bounded to things like they should be, or emotionally inherit a lot of emotions that they shouldn't have. Like, they think the wrong things are funny. They think the wrong things.
Could you give us an example with that, Emma? Because you brought up a couple, and I was actually, I don't get moved a lot by things, but some of the items she brought to my attention, it disturbed me.
Yeah.
For example,
I noticed when I was in school, like, when it comes to lessons about really important big events that happen here in the United States, especially 9/11, a lot of people make jokes about it. Because before, back in elementary school, people found it, like, disturbing to watch because, it's mandatory to learn about it. And then now you'll see, like, people make fun of it on Snapchat, people make fun of it in class, during the videos. They think that stuff is funny when it's not.
Wow. So your generation tends to be, well,
and that's not as a whole.
Out the loop, you think? I mean, as a whole, because it's like they didn't have to experience 9/11, whereas I woke up to the news and I'm seeing planes going into these towers, and it affected me mentally. Yeah. Not only as an American citizen, but just as a human being. Realizing all these lives are affected that have been lost or whatever. But you're saying that your generation, not all, some of them are just not in tune. You would think.
Yeah.
So where do you think that problem comes from then?
I think the way people are brought up. I feel like it's to be honest, it's out of people's, like, bad way of, like describing how they feel on the inside. It's like, how people laugh when something's not funny or when they cry, like how people react differently to different scenarios, like a coping thing. I think that's how a lot of people in my generation cope when they laugh at things like that aren't funny and make jokes because they're hurting eternally. There's something going on in their mental.
That's deep.
Yeah, it is. And when I think about, like, for example, Black Lives Matter, a lot of the Gen Z are a part of that movement, right? Yeah. And so I can truly say that I do applaud those efforts on things. But I have noticed, and if I do offend anyone, my apology upon that. But I also have noticed that some Gen Z, in your age group, they feel like racism has just started. Like they were the one to locate it, they found it, and now we got the cure, and this is what we're going to do. Instead of understanding and appreciating the history of what prior people went through, and I guess I'm bringing that back into, say, like the example that you gave about how they make jokes about 9/11 and all this other stuff like that. For the most part, like Charles was saying, not all of your generation is like that, but for the ones that their eyes are open, I applaud you guys. I mean, where do you see yourself far as being a voter in the future?
I could definitely see myself voting, but just kind of like the way things are looking now, it's like, I don't know.
Now, when you say you don't know, what you mean?
Like, it's just all corrupt. To me, it's corrupt.
Do you think that idea of a corrupt system...
Wait, hold on a second.
Will stop you from voting?
She thinks it's corrupt. Do you think it's corrupt?
I think that it is corrupt.
Okay, to what degree?
To the degree to where you have the president of the United States that's currently in office, and who knows, once this video airs, he'll probably be out of office. You never know, at least until January 21st. But anyway, you have a president that's currently in office that has told individuals, especially young militant people, to go to the polls and stand by and make sure that everything is running fine. Really, what he's telling people to do is go there and intimidate voters, and that can actually be, to me, disruptive to a young first-time voter. You know what I'm saying? Intimidate, like, wow, is this how democracy really is? Should I really be voting? You know, this is what I'm seeing. So what do you mean when you say it's corrupt? Because I'm not trying to put that in your mouth.
No, I understand. But, like, I think a perfect example is I completely, you know, support Black Lives Matter movement because, you know, I'm part of a person of color, right? But I think the problem is with politics, I have a huge problem with the fact that they use Black Lives Matter for their own platform. I feel like the only reason why Donald Trump let these riots happen or let people speak their voice is because he wants people to look at him and be like, hey, he lets us speak our voice, so let's vote for him, when really he's only doing it for his own personal gain.
Now this is, as they say, from the mouths of babes, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about defunding the police?
I don't think it's a good idea. I think that in order to become a police officer, there should be some either record looking into mental stability, because I don't think it's all police that are corrupt, but it's kind of like the scenario where one does something, it ruins it for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, if we completely defund the police, it will be complete chaos, because you'll have someone break into your house. There's no one to call. There's no one to depend on anymore, because that's what we're so used to is like, hey, call 911. We won't have that anymore.
Let me piggyback off of that. What do you feel about a politician who has suggested that we defund the police and get rid of them?
I honestly think that if a politician comes out and says that we need to defund the police, I think that they don't have a clue. You can have some stands on certain topics or certain politics, certain topics, but to say that you want to defund the police, that's crazy to me, because having the police is a necessity. And if you think about the definition of policing, you know what I'm saying? That's someone coming out there to serve and protect, to make sure that a community is in safe, not in harm's way. Now, do you have some police that abuse or violate their position? Of course, man. That's been going on since the beginning of a police state. That's just how it is.
Let me ask you this then. What do you think of a politician who does not try to stop a situation where there is rioting, stores are being burned, stores are being looted, people are being harmed?
But when you ask that, what do you mean by politicians?
In other words, what do you think
not doing
about
it?
a politician who has the ability to prevent it? Okay,
But
to
don't-
stop it. Good example. Say like if you're a mayor of a particular city, okay, you're a governor of a particular state, and there's a particular area where instead of back in the day where they said as far as occupying, now they're grabbing a section of a town and saying we're making it a whole new country and we're barricading this place. What do you feel about a governor who says let them just do their thing?
That to me shows a
Or a
sign of
mayor.
weakness.
A sign of weakness?
To me, it's a sign of weakness. To me,
Okay. So what should be done then?
govern. If you
When you
were
say
elected,
govern, could you specify?
if you were elected to be a mayor of a city or a governor of a certain state, you utilize whatever bylaws that's given to you in that state's constitution or whatever, and you govern. That's governor. You govern. That's what you're supposed to do.
In other words, how do you correct that problem? I'm asking you.
Follow protocol.
Okay.
If you are a militia group, excuse me, even a bootleg Black Panther type group, whatever, and you just out here thinking that you gonna run things or whatever like that, no, you can't. You have to take control. That's just how it is, because you're representing the citizens of that particular state. You have to make sure that they're feeling safe, and that goes into even when you have, like she was saying about the Black Lives Matter, when some of them be having those different protests or whatever. You have some that takes it and utilize it in the wrong way, and then go and loot and destroy. And some of the business that you're destroying are Black-owned businesses. So how can you say Black Lives Matter, but you're destroying Black lives by destroying they got family to take care of? You see what I'm saying? So some of it is just a bunch of BS to me.
piggybacking off of that, what do you feel as far as, say, young black men that you hear in response? What is their reaction to when they see riots taking place or they hear about another riots? What do you see as far as how they respond to it?
What do you mean?
In other words, are they for that riot? Are they against that riot? I mean, are they startled by it? Are they saying, it better not come here because we're not going to be a part of it? What do you normally see? Just speaking in general, no names or anything like that.
I feel like with, young men around my age, they're more into like, okay, let's go out there, let's support. It's more of like a angst behind it. But I feel like a lot of older men take a step back and think like, wait a minute, like let's really look into the background behind this before we make any final decisions.
Well, I mean, I can truly say that from my experience, guys my age have a lot of them have stayed away from it. Not because of the lack of support of what they're trying to do.
Well, I'm gonna say,
but because of the negative thing that comes out of it. I mean, a lot of times it turns violent.
well, that's odd that you say that because I guess I'm a little bit different. I'm the person, when I see the fire, I don't run the other way. I go out there trying to put the fire out. When they had originally stated that here, about they're going to march here, I contacted an influential individual, a certain minister.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give his name. And I called him and I asked him, let's go out there. The city, Detroit out there, does not need to burn. It does not. We don't need the problems here. He didn't want to go. I contacted somebody else, influential individual, trying to get them to go out and make sure. But you know what? In the end, Chief Craig, you did a hell of a job.
Great job.
Hell of a job.
Can no one say he did not do a great job?
And
can no one say
what they tried to bring to the table, and then at the same time twist and turn to defame that individual, let alone his agency, the men and women who were there on the front line dealing with these individuals to ensure it was going to be in the proper manner. I applaud you for that.
Yes.
I applaud you for
I do
that.
too.
But it just gets me where I see, we'll say, certain leaders in our community, when certain things arise. Martin Luther King took the march. Not one march, not two marches, but several marches. A lot of people in our society don't want to do the march when it's at risk to try and quell the situation. Okay?
So they're a problem then, you think?
There's a problem with that. Because they want the benefits of being recognized as that, but they don't really want to be the person who trying to comment. In other words, if you chew to the game, walk the walk.
So tell me this. How are you not walking the walk if you choose not to get caught up in like violence out there? Whereas, let's say me myself, I'm about to be 50, okay? You're 53 years of age. I have walked in different protests and different things when I was younger and stuff like that. Generational, we handle things differently. Our grandmothers and mothers and fathers, they had to deal with people throwing stuff in their face, sicking their dogs on them and stuff like that, right? Then you fast forward to my generation when we went out there, things we didn't encounter. Those like spitting in our faces or throwing stuff, kicking us out the restaurants, right? Because the ones who did the protesting before my generation, they laid the groundwork, right?
And
so what I'm saying
I'm gonna say is, in regards to that, it depends on where you lived.
Okay, but let me just say this: the millennials and the Gen X, whatever like that, they don't have to experience the things that the great Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks went through. They didn't have to experience the things that myself or you may have went through, but they have a platform that is very strong, but some of them are using it to put a black mark on it to me. And that's where the problem comes in for me. I understand what they're trying to, what those people are trying to do, and I support them 100%, but when you have people out there putting a black mark on it, that's where the problem comes in at. And then you have people my age who don't want to be bothered with that, because you get out there, you try to tell them something, they want to knock you upside your damn head.
You want to piggyback off of that?
I would say that I agree with him. It is pretty different, but the thing is, I feel like technology-wise weaponry, we're pretty more advanced. So from what
definitely.
I've seen from the riots, you have like these giant bullets being hit at people. You got police literally pushing. Like,
How did that affect you when you saw that stuff? How did it affect you?
it was hard to watch.
Why though?
Because, I mean, as an empathetic person, I feel like for anybody that would be hard to watch. See some other people get hurt for something they believe in.
I mean, but that, Emma, but that's been going on beginning of time, you can pretty much say, you right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is, what make this time different than back then?
It's not a big difference, but I think it's the fact that I'm living in this time and experiencing it for myself.
And
that
how did
it's
it
a
make you
big
feel
difference.
about your future?
Scared.
And
I'm
that's,
scared.
to bring it on around, that's what I'm saying. The thing is, like you said, you guys have access to social media. So it's easy for you guys to put something out there, boom, boom, boom. We gonna meet at what Campus Martius, be there at 3:00 on Tuesday. We gonna do this. Back then, you had to make phone calls, dun, 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 dun. Or in the 60s and 70s, it was word of mouth, and people come out to the different rallies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, you guys have a lot of power.
Yeah.
And y'all can affect a whole lot of change when you look at this whole thing with the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all this different things. Do you realize if Martin Luther King, I don't mean no disrespect by saying Martin, but the Reverend Martin Luther King, do you realize if they had anywhere near close to the gadgets and the tools, I mean, things could have been a whole lot different.
Yeah.
A whole lot different. Wow.
You know, here's the problem is when you say things could have been a whole lot different, yes and no. Because again, you have to have the support of the House and the Senate back then for things to get passed.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bill was like 77 to 23. And there was one guy who had filibustered the bill for like 14 hours and 20-something minutes or whatever. He stood on that floor trying to block it. So again, you got to look at also population,
Mm-hmm.
okay? How many people were around who were white? How many people were of this population was black? That
Okay.
actually
I see
could
what
have
you're
actually made a change. So you may have had at that time the technology, but at the same time, you got both sides. At the same time, how many are willing to take that walk? How many are willing to say, we're going to make a change happen? Not many were, but it was just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? People who were in place, who were in a position that could make a change, made it happen. And I think it came to some point that they had to go along with giving up a lot of money to pass a certain thing under the budget to keep, I think, under $100 billion for that year in order for that to even get entertained somewhere down the line. Okay? But there was a lot of politics in play with that. But it did happen. My question to you is, Emma, at any point when things were getting heated, did you have any problems sleeping as a result because of it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Did you have any fears of going to school because of what was going on in society as far as these riots taking place and everything else?
No.
Okay. What part, or if any part, did you feel that something may happen? Was it your present? Was it your future that you're concerned about?
Both. In the present and the futures of others.
How?
I mean, like, this whole thing affected a lot.
How?
Whether it was people's like businesses, whether it was schools, like it was a lot of, and also a lot of historical damage where they.
Oh, didn't you have a job?
Yeah.
What happened to your job?
I lost my job
Okay, keep going.
because of
Oh.
the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Even a 16-year-old could lose their job because of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep. So, wow. You know what? I never even thought about a 16-year-old, 15-year-old lose their job or whatever, because I just never thought about it. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's, hey, shame on me. So tell me this then. Where did we go wrong then? Or what could we do to help better things for your generation?
I think that a big problem that my generation has is I think the parents blaming the way we are on us. Like, they say, oh, you're so this, you're so that, you're so caught up on your phone. It's like, what generation invented the phone? You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Ouch. That's good. Touche. Go ahead.
You know what
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying? It's like, oh, you guys are so caught up in this, caught up in that. What generation invented social media? What generations invented social structure and status? And what generations did it? Not us. We're like what? A little bit more than a decade old? Almost 2? Like, what could we have done in diapers? You get what I'm saying?
Well, you know what?
You got to rub your head. Oh my
yeah,
God. What?
Because I'm gonna have to go a little bit deeper on this. I look as far as the breakup of the family unity has been a problem in our society. It's not being a village managing a village, okay? And I look at it this way. We'll say as far as black men particular, from the moment they come out these days, and when I say come out, I'm talking about as far as being born, society has perpetuated problems against them. And when you separate the unity of the family itself, and then these men are young boys hearing negative stuff on why you daddy's this, why your daddy's that, it makes them not want to be any part. At the same time, they may have an adverse effect and be very negative towards the woman for not being around. Okay? So in return, they have that negative impression. So if they have that negative thought process, they're going to malinger around individuals who have that same thought process. Okay? And they're basically going to say, F this, F that, F the law. Okay? That's what they're basically going to say. I shouldn't listen to that. I'm not going to respect women. Even in our society today, how long has they continued on to use the B word in the rap videos? Okay? And identifying it. How many times do we hear now, if you want to be with somebody, you got to bring something? I remember as a kid, if I was 16 years old, if I didn't have a car, I wasn't nothing. Right. Okay, that's going back then. So now it's all about making that fast money. And it's living for today. They're not planning for the future. So where we're going with this young crowd, if they're like that, because their dad was like that, they're only going to get worse. Because when they have kids, what's going to happen? It's only going to get worse.
Now, a lot of the problem that I've ran into, that I have seen, is that a lot of the women who are raising these young men by themselves, they are not teaching them, the sons, not to make the same mistake that your daddy made. They're raising boys, and they're allowing them to be able to stay at home till they 35, 40. Let them just run in and out the house. All they do is they raise them to, hey, find you a young lady. It used to be said where they raise a young girl, say, I want you to raise up. You gonna find you a good husband. He'll take care of you now. Raise you up. You gonna find you a good woman. And you gonna move up my house. Yep. But if it don't work over there, you can always come on back and sleep in the basement or whatever, right? And nowadays, a lot of these guys, they move out with these young women. Yeah. They don't have to pay a bill. The woman buy them a nice PlayStation, Xbox or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? And young ladies like yourself, y'all are the ones that's dealing with it. Yeah. And I guess I have always wondered, what is the thinking of women that take on such a thing? Is it desperate? I mean, what do you foresee your age group doing different from millennials, different from women my age? Because women seem to be desperate nowadays sometimes.
Yeah, I think that on both sides that there is some type of insecurity. Like, me personally, I respect men. Like, I feel like men have a lot of pressure in society to not cry, because they have to raise up a whole family. They make businesses, they do a lot, and I think with these young men, I kind of give them a break because, when you sit down and talk to them and listen to them, young men don't really get that. Girls are mainly pampered. They're always listened to about their emotions because, yes, we are emotional beings, but I think boys need that too. I think boys have the right to cry, to say that how they're feeling. Boys can be sensitive too, and I feel like that they think that that's not okay, and so they hold a lot of that in, and it makes them to the person that they don't even recognize anymore.
Damn, that's deep.
I mean, it's deep. It is.
Real.
It's deep, yeah. But I just think a lot of them have a lot of anger too, though, because a lot of the young guys that I have dealt with or seen, they don't want to tap into that sensitive side. You know what I'm saying? And so, I guess I understand what you're saying, but it's okay to me to listen to him. But at a certain point in time, a woman has to tell a man to grab his balls and be a man, though, because a lot of times, just because you sitting there and you let him vent, a lot of these young guys are very, what's the word, manipulative. You know what I'm saying? But
so are women.
Okay, but a man being raised to be that way or trained that way by their mothers, that's where I have a problem at. Is that a lot of these mothers are raising their sons to learn how to manipulate their woman in the future, but they're mad at that son's father because he did it to her. You know what I'm saying? So all you doing is creating a cycle instead of teaching him to be a strong man and get him prepared for life after being here, and then you guys are going to be the grunt of it. So it's like, what do you foresee yourself doing? I mean, out here, I mean, you 17.
Yeah.
You're going to be 18 in less than a year.
Have you thought about this?
Have you thought about the relationship, about what you're going to do once you get on out there? Because that's another thing too. And I know I'm talking and I'm rambling, but understand, in the workforce, women is more. I mean, you could be at McDonald's. You see more females working at McDonald's than a guy. If you work in a corporate setting, you see a lot more women working in a corporate setting. Women are making more money a lot of times, right? So the thing is that this is what you're going to be walking into, and it's going to be worse for you because a lot of these young men, they don't know what it takes to be a man. So do you feel like it's going to be your job to teach your man to be a man?
No. I don't think, like, I feel like you can, this is the thing with humans, right? You can show someone the way, but that's their choice whether or not they want to take that road or not. Because you have a certain limit on where you can control a person. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like a red pill, blue pill. Like, here, like, do this and do that and you'll get to where you want to be, or don't do this and that and you'll be here. That's up to them. Okay. So I think that is more of their choice, whether or not.
Yeah, but I would agree but disagree with you on that, and the reason being is because if it's already built in your consciousness, and a lot of it already built into your subconsciousness, okay? Good example. Say like when Willie was, say, 5 years old, some girl walked up to him, right? Yeah. And she was wearing a green shirt, okay? Slapped the crap out of him, right? Because he was trying to pinch her or something, right? Yeah. You don't know the long-term effect that's going to have on him every time he sees green or associates green with that woman slapping or that girl slapping him at a young age. Yeah. So in other words, if you're conditioned at a young age to think negative thing about men, let alone what are men, sooner or later as a young man, you're going to become a man. So what are you going to feel about yourself? How is your self-esteem is? When you going back earlier when you brought that up about self-esteem issues, okay? Insecurities. So what are you going to try and do? A lot of times what happens is a narcissist is what? Is a person overcompensating because of what? Their insecurities. So we deal with a selfish society of these young people growing up, okay, thinking it's all about them, but in actuality, they're a bunch of little scared babies.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, and so they will bark at you all day long. Okay, because what are they first thing going to do? They're going to hide behind and say, well, you can't touch me because of law, or you're going to be sued. Yeah. Okay, so the problem is the biasness towards men itself. It needs to stop. And I do mean it needs to stop because society has accepted, not all society, as far as women in society to say, and what their rights are, they're equal rights. They should have equal rights. But the problem comes into play is men should have equal rights too and treated as such. We're not supposed to go with the stereotypes towards women as we did yesterday. Why are we still carrying it today with men? And every decision that's being made, let alone the court process. Okay? So it's a systemic problem, but nobody really wants to address it because they're fixated on one gender instead of, guess what, multiple genders. And guess what? We forgot about the men on that. Because we've only stereotyped about particular men have done this, men have done that. Not all men are like that. These men were one-time boys. Why do you think they became with the bitterness they have?
Why do you think they became the business that they have?
Each case is different. Each case is different. And when I say that, I've had a lot of talks with a lot of young men. Mm-hmm. And a majority, even if you look statistic-wise or even look into the facts, the majority of men that have been incarcerated come from broken houses. Okay? It's a fact. The majority of women who are locked up and incarcerated today come from broken houses, or broken homes, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
You notice I didn't use the term houses. I used the term house instead of homes, because a home is what?
What a heart is?
Exactly. And and it's very, very sad. But when you talk with these young men, you find out, when you really talk with them, and they don't think anything's going to be held against them, I remove my biases, and I listen to what they want to say. And it's sad because they're not respected. And that's the first thing they want is respect.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants respect.
But the problem goes back to, as a child, they weren't respected. A lot of them have learning disabilities that was never addressed, so they dropped out of school, okay? Or they hung around a certain crowd. Or because this stepdad or mom's boyfriend was in the play, was doing different things to them in a very negative way, or mom wasn't paying attention, or dad was nowhere to be around because dad was gone, okay? Or dad was separated. But the problem with our society is we need to treat people equally and stop with the stereotypes. Because it has a lifelong commitment, and we're seeing it because now what we're dealing with is more what? Desensitized people. These kids are getting ready to have babies.
Yeah.
And if they barely got a conscience, how are their children going to be? And how are you and I going to be in the next 20 years?
I mean, that's what scares the hell out of me, because her generation and the ones after that, I'm going to have to depend upon them.
We're going to be prey.
Exactly.
And we're not going to be thought of because it's desensitized. So our rights, our medical needs, okay, our funding, it's not going to be of interest to them. And I'm not saying as a whole.
I understand.
I'm just saying particulars.
Because you're right.
Well, and I appreciate that. But again, it's just my opinion on that. But it shows. But nobody really wants to address it. Everybody is just here and now. People are not looking towards the future on what's really going to happen. I always try to look what's going to happen 5 years from now. What could happen 10 years from now because of this action? Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't. They live for the here and now.
Right.
Yeah. And with these young men, they're doing things and they're only living for that moment. But they want to be respected because they did not get their respect. But they're not guaranteed they're going to give you that respect. They're going to tell you have to earn it.
Yeah.
But what do you mean earn? Is it a two-sided coin here?
Well, you know what? I'm telling you, it's like this. I am worried about being a elderly citizen because of this young generation, right? Like I said in the beginning, a lot of y'all, I applaud you because a lot of y'all are very smart and intelligent, and y'all, you guys know what you want, and you know how to go about getting it, and you're demanding to be treated with respect.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that's actually giving the respect, right? Mm-hmm. But you have, like he said, another spawn off of you guys that don't give a damn about nothing.
Nope.
Just want to take and don't want to give nothing back. And I honestly feel like that's part of the problem, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you, someone in your age group, to be able to talk to us and let us know if we're wrong, because we come from a different era, you know what I'm saying, where you guys are more tolerable than, y'all living arrangements. I done seen a bunch of millennials and a bunch of Gen Z. They were migrate in one house, sleep on the floor, and just live. That's just what, and don't have a care about nothing, right? Whereas we were raised to, like, we was hungry. You know, you talking about borrowing chickens until your mommy get a food stamps or whatever, and that was when they had the books, not the EBT card. I'm talking about the books, the food stamps, or whatever, right? So we were raised to, I gotta do better, because I can't live like this for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. I can't. We dealt with racism. I was in the Navy. I had a white shipmate call me a monkey. You know what I'm saying? And and I was ready to go at it. But of course, the other whites, high ups, like, no, Johnson, let it go. He ain't mean nothing. Oh, he means something, but I had to look at the bigger picture. If I do this, I'm gonna get captain's mask. I'm gonna get demoted. I'm gonna be the one to get in trouble, not the one who called me out the name. Whereas this generation, they think
impulsive.
What the hell?
They're not thinking. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's part of the problem. And so that's why I said I applaud you and youngsters your age. So tell me this: when it comes down to relationships, do you think that you'll be talking to your dad about, like, guys and like, hey dad, Daryl, he's cute, he's sexy, and I want to be with him. Do you foresee yourself being able to talk to your dad like that?
I mean, yeah, because he's also like a guy himself, so he would know like better than
he's like a
anybody
guy,
to.
right? Right. I mean that's what you said.
Nice job.
No, that's
nice
what you
job.
said, right? He's like a guy.
He's like a guy.
You know what I meant.
Right.
You know what I meant.
Go ahead.
Don't twist my words.
I know. It's all good.
Like, once
It's
the
a-
cameras turn on, yeah, it's a problem. So,
Oh.
but I think the thing with relationships, I think the ideas behind them are so toxic. I feel like relationships today are so restricting and toxic.
Wow, that's weird.
Communication is horrible in a lot of different relationships, and it's all ran by emotion instead of rational thought process. Like, a lot of the ideas like, oh, you can't have like a female friend, you can't have male friends. That's not human nature. You're going to talk to different people. You're going to have friends.
When you say that, you're not talking about like same-sex relationships. You're just talking about just the friendship itself, though. That's what you're talking about?
I'm saying being in a relationship, I think it's wrong when people try to restrict people from having like opposite sex friendships.
Oh, okay.
In a relationship.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like,
In other words, what she's saying is she believes that people of opposite sex can be in friendships without it maturing to as far as a sexual aspect to it.
yeah.
And but the person that you're dating seem to be having a problem with it, you saying?
No, I'm just speaking in general.
Okay.
That's like a thing that goes on today. Like, oh, like you can't have female friends, you can't have male friends. I think that's completely toxic because out of human nature, you're going to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make friends,
Mm-hmm.
and to restrict someone from that, especially being so young, I think it's cruel.
Okay.
I can understand like relationships are pretty mature and there is boundaries. Like, hey, like if you suspect something from his female friends that's giving you an iffy vibe, tell him that. Communicate to him. Don't be like, oh, let me look through your phone. Let me go beat her up. Talk to him about it first. Tell him that it's bothering you. He should do the same. You know, I think communication is key, and I think that's a problem with failed relationships today in our generation is running off of insecurity and terrible communication.
Okay. Now see, that, I mean, like I said, miles of babes, right?
That's my baby. That's my baby.
So to start wrapping this thing on up, Charles, you and I have had plenty of conversations about the youth, about the problems that we have ran into and what's going on. Give us like a little summary of where do you think the state is in regards to her generation, as far as millennials, as far as, do you see them being accountable? Do you see them being reliable? What do you foresee? Your own opinion.
I don't know. The only thing that I do believe, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
If we keep going in the state that we're going right now, and babies raising babies, disconnected families, disconnected generations.
Bad communication.
Yes, that's key. Communication. Yeah. We've had our talks about that in regards to miscommunication, people, how things get blown out, way out of proportion. But it seems like it's only going to get worse because this goes into the thing that we had discussed on the other show, is where people get their emotions caught up into it and they don't take the time to really listen where the other person is coming from.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
And I'm really concerned. Because I can see our generation becoming prey to her generation. And if her generation keeps going the way it goes, we're going to have a lot of, we'll say, lawlessness going on in our society.
Especially with the idea of like defunding the police, going back onto that, I don't see how people don't realize if you take away the police force, what do you think is going to protect us? That's the easy way for us to go into martial law.
Okay, and with that being said, give us a summary of your feelings about what you think the state of your being for your generation, as far as what do you think would be you guys' situation?
You mean for our futures?
Yes.
I think it's going to be kind of like a every man for himself kind of society, because that's kind of how it already is. Like, stick with your own, like, who dresses the same as you, who acts the same as you, who has the same beliefs as you. And also racially, I think is a big problem as well. But I think, yeah, like a every man for themselves.
Separatists.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That is I ain't gonna say it's weird, because that's actually something that I thought of that may be the case.
He had a thought. He had one thought.
Finally.
Okay, he had a thought. Go ahead.
So, I mean, when you think about, when you watch what goes on in the news today, you're seeing young black men committing some very,
Some out of this world
crimes that you wouldn't have even thought of. I mean, young men raping elderly women, and just all kind of just crazy stuff that's going on, where we were raised to say, yes, ma'am, thank you. Even to this day, I could be in McDonald's getting some fries. The girl could be 17, thank you, ma'am. Because that's how I was raised, you know what I'm saying, to be courteous like that, right? But it's like, I just don't see your generation being effective as far as positively.
Yeah.
And again, that's my thinking. Just like you, I'm concerned because I am purposely trying to put myself in a situation financially where I don't have to depend on your generation.
Yeah.
And that goes with my own children. I love my children, but I don't want to financially. I'm trying to make sure I'm set so I could pay to have myself looked after. It's just a scary time.
Well, let me piggyback off of that. Not only that, if you create a generation where there is no retirement, their retirement is going to be relied on as far as their inheritance from their family members.
So knock you off and get that
I
money.
didn't,
That's
well,
what
I didn't say that. I didn't say
Oh
that.
my God!
But I'm just saying, people can't work till they drop.
Yeah. I mean, but that's where this generation is going. You guys gonna be working until you die. I mean, you talking about taking vacations? Oh no, you can't take vacations because you got to work all the dang time. You talking about 401k? Oh shoot, 401k probably be messed up too, because you ain't gonna be able to put a whole bunch of money into it because you try to live for now. Whereas, you know, right now, what you put a certain percentage, your job match it. Hell, I don't know if the job's gonna match yours, and if it do, I mean, a person like myself, I pay over. But you probably like, shit, I can't do that. I gotta get bread. I got kids to take care of. I got to do this or whatever. And so, and I think that right there also is going to be part of the problem for you guys too, because y'all going, it's going to be like the Wild Wild West, almost. Wild Wild West. And that's what scares me. But with that being said, we're going to have some like you that's going to fight for equality, that's going to fight to make sure that everything is being done the right way.
Yeah. I
just hope that people like such as yourself have the strength to keep the fight going. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up on it. So that would be my advice. If I could give any advice to any of you youngsters or whatever, and
you know what?
That would be it.
But they're going to be outnumbered. And the reason why I said they're going to be outnumbered because there's kids that are going around keeping tally. How many girls did they knock off? When I say knock off, I'm talking about impregnate. Okay, or not even caring that the fact is they may have a baby because of whatever sexual relationship they had with that person and move on to the next.
Okay, so who fault is that then?
Again, you know what? As a society, we all are at fault.
But it'll also be her fault too then.
As a society,
because and I'm just saying that to say that at some point somebody have to take a stand and say no. If
exactly
just because the guy look cute, he may got a 12-pack, got to be buff. Don't let him just come climb in your bed.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And don't let him knock you up, and then now you got to go try to find you got to go to DHS to try to get your bridge card, get Medicaid because he done moved on to the next girl and whatever. But I'm just saying that right there, it got to start somewhere, and you guys are in a great position to take control, to hold men accountable, to let them know it's time for you to be a man. If y'all don't realize it's the power. Okay? I'm just keeping it 100. She's 17.
We're not having this conversation.
She's 17.
We're
Okay.
not.
Okay.
This is a
And
private
you,
conversation.
I'm just saying,
Wow.
you
Wow.
guys, y'all need to hear it. Women have power.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't realize that they have the power.
Yeah.
If a guy want to call you at 2 o'clock at night after you left the club, tell him, hey, I'm ready to come on over. You the dumbass to open the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. When that's the only time you see his ass is on Saturdays and Fridays.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Why is she's the dumbass, as you say, but yet our songs, our movies, our culture is saying a woman can be as promiscuous as a man can be.
But that's different.
Do you said it's different.
No.
But do you follow what I'm saying?
What I'm saying though, far as if you're trying to find a mate, you trying to not it's different if you just want to have a good time.
So what you're saying is that social norm is being a dumbass.
If you know that you're being played, and you know that you care about.
Okay, but what happened to equality?
That's
then?
on. It's a difference.
In other words, I'm going back to, or I'm piggybacking what I said earlier. Okay? I'm riding off of saying the fact is it's still a village. We need to change the culture and say certain things, but again, we have to be careful because we're saying you have your liberty to do what you want to do.
Right.
Okay? Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whatever gender you identify yourself with, you have the right to do that.
Right. You have the right to
Okay?
do that.
But again, there's consequences.
It's consequences in everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So the more we move away from social norms, the more we move away from as far as ethics and morals, then she's not being a dumbass. She's doing what she wants to do,
Right.
according
right.
to her civil rights.
She's doing what she wants to do.
But we're
What
not
I'm
looking at the
saying to
cause and
you-
effect.
What I'm saying to you is, if you putting all your energy, all your eggs in this one basket with Leroy, okay? Because you love you some Leroy,
Right.
But you know that Leroy only bring his ass over
Mm-hmm.
either when you get paid or when it's time to get laid.
Right.
You the dumbass for continue to make yourself vulnerable for this person. Now, if you and Leroy got an understanding, this is just friends with benefits.
Mhm.
We gonna do our things. That's your right. You do that. But what I'm saying is, don't let him come and knock you up.
Mhm.
If you already know the rules that this is just a friends with benefit, why are you letting him go up in you raw?
Because it's true.
Why are you not wearing protection yourself?
Hold on. Well, understand what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. What you're saying is then she has no right to what she does with her body.
No. See, there you go. You turn it.
If she wants
have
him
a right
to
to
have
what you wanna
unprotected
do.
sex,
Okay.
then she has that right.
Okay, so then you had a right to raise that little baby by yourself.
No.
And why he go have another baby then?
No. See, and did you hear what you just said? That's that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Listen. That's the same mindset that a lot of guys say. Okay, it's not my responsibility to put on that prophylactic. Okay, it's on her to wear something. Or better yet, she told me she was on the pill.
No.
Okay, it's called both parties being
But-
responsible.
He's stupid if he believes that
No, I
she's
understand
taking a
that.
thing.
But you sat there and said, well,
But
that's going to be
I'm
on
just
her.
saying-
It's going to be on her to raise that child.
I'm talking about
Okay.
from her POV.
Okay, but
From her point of view.
I understand from that point of view, but what you sound like is a misogynist to say that, because now it goes back to, in regards to, now that child is going to be dealing with a dad like you.
A dad like me, hey,
Okay.
I'm raised by.
No, you may raise yours, but what you're saying though, well, you're on to raise that child. That's what you just said, didn't you?
I'm talking about based upon that.
Hold on, did you hit your head because it seemed like you forgot?
That's what
Did
he's
you-
saying.
Okay, you're all right. I understand you're 50
I'm
now.
talking
No,
based
no
upon
Alzheimer, right? You
what
good? Okay.
he is saying.
Okay, he may
or
be
what the
saying that,
stigma
but what
is
I'm
out
saying
there.
to you,
That's what I'm
she
saying.
has a right
She has the right to sleep with 10 men in one night.
if she wants to.
If she wants
Okay,
to.
like you did. But I'm just saying, she has that right. Okay, just like you did. Okay, that's neither here or there. Okay, I'm quite sure she can't beat your record though. But the thing I'm just trying to say to you is, okay, that you went back as a misogynist point of view and said, well, then she can just raise that child.
No.
Isn't that what you said?
No.
Emma, did he say something like that? That's all I want to know.
But
I just
you
caught on
took
to 10 man
you.
life. That's what got me. I completely zoned out.
He got
after
bragging rights.
No,
Give it to him. He got bragging rights.
What? To sum it all up, what I was saying is that a young woman, she has control. She can control the flow of a relationship. She can influence a man to do right. She can influence a man to do wrong. A woman has control if she really wants to utilize it. And what I'm saying is, don't lose the control by letting a man come over and do what he do, especially with what her generation is facing. It's time to break a cycle.
You know what?
That's all I'm
I
saying.
agree
Okay.
with both
It's
of
time to
them.
break
You
a
know what?
cycle.
I agree with you in
Because
part.
I don't want my sons to be
okay.
bums.
I agree with you in part.
I taught my sons to open the door for young ladies.
I agree with you
I
in
didn't-
part, but the
that's what I
bottom
do.
line is, we need to raise these men better. It should not go back, just like we're going back on as far as blaming the men for this, blaming and still carrying with that stereotype. The men can't cook, they can't clean, they don't take care of children, they don't change diapers and all that stuff. They would be totally incompetent if they were left home alone and the house would be on fire. Okay, we need to move away from that. What I'm saying to you though is, yes, she needs to correct self-control. At the same time, it does not prohibit or restrict the man or the boy, depending on the age group, okay, from doing the right thing and not doing that. But it's all about, as a society, on how we maintain that society and what we bring up with the morals and the beliefs that we have on how to treat one another and respect one another. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
Okay.
But this misogynist point of view, oh, she got pregnant, whatever, she raised it. Come on.
You're not saying that's what I'm saying.
You said that earlier.
I am putting myself in the shoes of a young, irresponsible man and say that that's what they're saying. I didn't raise my sons to be men.
I'm not
now,
disputing
what
that.
my sons decide to do once they leave, they decide to be some bum-ass fools, that's on them. But I did my job by telling them how to treat a woman, this is what you do, blah, 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 all that. And what I'm saying is, it's also a woman that's on the receiving end of this nonsense to decide whether or not she want to deal with the nonsense or tell them, look, if you want to be with me, this is the protocols. This is what you need to do. Ain't no coming over here at 2 o'clock in the morning after the club. That's one time I see you. Ain't no, you're going to take me out to dinner. You're going to take me to a movie. I'm not picking you up. You ain't borrowing my car. I ain't going to work. And your ass sitting at home playing Xbox all day. That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. You know, that's fine.
Nah, that's part of the stigma, part of the thing that we need to change. But it starts at home, but it also starts at her home when she has the apartment, she has the home, letting this person just travel through her door through all times of the night or whatever.
Oh, and
that's
see,
what I'm saying.
But that also brings up another thing in regards to what you're saying about.
I try to wrap this up, but you see how
I got to go with it. I'm sorry. Okay. But the fact is, you basically described a down payment to get it. Is that what you, I mean, in our society today, I have to take a woman out to eat. I have to do this, I have to do that. And then that's why you're
just
giving a down
described
payment.
some
No,
shit.
I'm listening to what you're
No.
saying, okay? That's what you just
if you
described.
summarize up what I'm really trying to say here,
Please. Because it seems like you're
What
only
I'm
blaming the woman
saying
on this.
is-
It goes both. It's the
what
men
I'm
and the women.
saying is,
And why we gotta
The-
be buddies? Where'd that come into? I was just saying, but go ahead. Is that the key word or something, or safe
how
word
about
or
this?
something?
How about safe word? How about this? Let's
Go
go
ahead.
like this. A man needs to know his role. Okay. A young man needs to know his role. Men are supposed to be the one that go out there and forge. You're supposed to be the provider, the protector, and all this other stuff.
You're putting a lot on. That's the problem.
Hold up. No. The problem is it's not being.
What happened to
put on.
equality?
The problem. See, right.
What happened to equality?
Equality been out the window when women start making more money and start working more, and the guy decides he wants to sit his ass at home.
Then why?
and do
Hold on.
something.
Then why? Understand? I said equality. I'm not saying for he should sit
No,
his butt.
the
home in front
equality
of
is
Xbox.
there, but he has to want to get up and go fight for it for himself, and that's the problem. A lot of our young black men are not trying to fight for the respect. They're not trying to fight to be the man in the
I always
relationship.
look at it this way, and I've
Okay.
said it a couple different times. What do you no, let me ask Emma. What do you feel is a solution to that?
Equality. Simple as that.
Okay, but what should happen differently with these young men today for not to turn out just like when we came over here and he was upstairs with his shorts barely on or whatever, and playing the Xbox and everything else and eating salty peanuts. So my question is to you. Okay,
This guy right here.
that was good when I thought so. But anyway, so
I just see him in London.
Right.
That's a little too much information. Salty
So-
peanuts.
okay, so let me ask you this then. As a society, what should we do different for the young man
I think that
to curb it, to change it?
like I said earlier, let's hear guys out. I feel like that's the problem. Boys aren't heard out. You guys have so much put on you to where you guys have to bottle it all up, and you guys are not even.
So you hear, and then what's the follow-up? You hear what they got to say, or you listen to what the guy said. What's the follow-up?
Accountability to me.
That too.
And that's your answer?
My answer is accountability. I think sometimes you have to put their back against the wall and tell them, survive. Because, and the reason I say that, because a lot of them do not have the survival techniques. And when I say survival techniques, I'm not talking about the survival to the point to where you got to go out there and break in somebody's house or do this. No, I'm saying survival techniques, meaning learn coping skills, learn how to communicate. Because that's another problem. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to talk things out. They don't know how to reason things out or whatever. So that's part of the problem right there. And it's not being given to them at home by mother. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about those households where you do have just a mom raising them, That's what I had. My mom, she raised me practically by herself, really, right? But she also taught me some things. I also listened. I went in the kitchen. I wanted to learn how to cook. I wanted to learn how to wash some clothes, sew, or whatever.
Right.
I did that.
Mhm.
I had 3 sisters that followed behind me. But I wanted to learn certain things, and she told me, you going to learn this stuff because don't you ever depend on no woman for nothing. So I didn't want to be that man, so I'm trying to teach my son, because I see a lot where a lot of these guys use women. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're using them.
Yeah.
They move out, go into the house with them, because a lot of times, like you said, some of the women have some insecurity issues or whatever. They let them in. Well, don't worry about nothing. All you gotta do is just pay a light bill or whatever. But you buying all the food, you paying the water, the heat.
Yeah.
You at work, he's sucking all the heat up. All the food gone.
Yep.
Your
Yep.
kids' cookies
Yep.
and Cookie Crisp, all that's gone because he done ate all the damn cereal up all
Yep.
night, and he's not bringing it to the table. And that's what I'm saying. They need to be taught accountability, and I think that's the problem in our community with young black men. They don't even know the definition or a generic definition of what accountability is. A man is mind, and when you use your mind, you can become a great man. But they don't want to use it, and that's the problem that I have or whatever.
I
So
think it's the same for women, though. I think women should also take accountability and have morals. Because you are right that women are part of the responsibility of letting that man into their house. They need to take, there's a time where there needs to be a moment to take a step back and think, am I making the right choice? Is
Right.
this not only right to my future, but just to myself presently,
Mhm.
to my own morals, to my own self-esteem? So I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of times, I mean, think about this. Would you like to raise a family with a man that's strong-minded, sensible, hardworking, a go-getter, or would you want to raise a child with someone that don't have no prospects, that really don't have opinion on nothing, they're lackluster? Which one would you choose?
You better go get a job.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, a lot of time, women choose this one because they figure like, I can mold this person into being what I want him to be. You can't mold a man into a damn thing. A man gonna be what he wanna be. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's okay for a woman to help a person to identify certain things where he may not know that he have. He may not know that he have resilience. He may not know that he has the power to be a strong leader in his community or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes a man needs a woman to push him on to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is, and that's how I see it. But that's just my word, I guess.
I agree.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So, with that being said, I want to thank the lovely young Miss Emma for being on the show with us today. Thank you. Let me do the
problem.
applause. Yes. I truly must say, and I've said it again, I will sing her praises because this is a very young, bright, intelligent young lady, and I am looking forward to seeing what the future has to offer for her, and I
But
want
don't
you guys to do the same
forget
too.
Strong.
Oh, see, see, if I wouldn't have also said strong, this girl probably would have done something to me.
Physically, mentally strong. Strong. May I say again, strong.
Yeah. Yeah, she said it again. Strong. So, with that being said, that's my word podcast. Again, the show will be back up 2021, top of the year. Me and C to the right will be back on the show with Miss Latay. Her trifling stuff. You didn't hear me say that, Latay. You didn't hear me say that.
Yes,
God
you
is
did.
good.
Yes,
God
you
is
did.
good.
Who's
But,
Latay?
oh, you don't remember her?
No, it's been so long.
Oh man, she's the one with the two little dogs, the cute little dogs. You don't remember Latay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the one that's very boisterous all the time.
Oh, leave this woman alone. She's probably sitting at home watching Netflix over here talking about it. She's not even worried about you guys. I know I wouldn't.
Well, with that being said, this is the advocate for Latay. Latay, you know we love you, girl. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the show. Please share it with family and friends. Also, make sure you make some comments. Let us know what we could do better or what you think that we should touch upon in the future for certain topics with this Let Me Talk. But again, thank you. We're signing off. Peace.
Bye-bye.
She said bye-bye. Is that a Gen Z thing, bye-bye? Being.